Today, we are going to make some grass. No, I'm not in Colorado, so it's not going to be that kind of grass. It's our techniques that are so simple and sensible, your models will practically build themselves. Hello folks, it's Mad Dog Murph. Welcome to today's show. Today we have a special treat for you. We are going to go to the home of the world's most interesting modeler. In fact, we're going to go over there, we're going to have some coffee, and then I'm going to do an interview with him. It's a friend of mine named Rob, and he at one time held the Guinness Book of World Records for the number of model aircraft that he had, built model aircraft that he had. And I was one of the people who verified the number for the Guinness people. This goes back, 20 plus years ago that we did this. But anyway, he still has quite a few in his collection. We're going to take a look at the collection real quick today. He's got some stuff for his stash that I think we're going to probably cover on the kit hoarder stash because it's just amazing. But anyway, this man has an incredible story, and we're going to try to share some of it with you and show you some of his collection. My collection of weirdness pales in comparison with what Rob has. So stick with Mad Dog Murph. We're going to go over to the house of the world's most interesting modeler.
So this is why I call him the world's most interesting modeler. Several years back when he was working for the Department of Public Safety, he was working undercover and grew a beard. And this is how he would go to drinking establishments. And yeah, he looks just like the guy in the commercial. But really, Rob's story starts in the early 1970s when he was in the U.S. Air Force. And he became he was training to become a fighter pilot. But at the end of Vietnam, they just didn't need any more fighter pilots. And so Rob wound up going on to become an air policeman. But here he is at 20,000 feet enjoying the view. Eventually, Rob found a home with the Utah Highway Patrol. And here's a picture of him with his Highway Patrol Mustang. That's pretty cool looking. But Rob also likes to go out on the desert and explore. He likes to go to some of these reenactments like at Tombstone and whatnot. This is on the Transcontinental Railroad grade where he's taken this picture. He takes a lot of fantastic pictures. He does some great exploring and just really seems to enjoy life. He has hundreds of pictures from these trips he's taken over the years. And this is one that, he took a little bit too close up, I think. But what Rob is most known for is his model airplane collection. Rob builds some amazing model airplanes, and if you've built it, chances are Rob has probably built it at least once in his lifetime. But specifically what he's most known for is being a holder in the Guinness Book of World Records. Not currently, but many years ago. 1,642 plastic airplane models assembled. And here's a picture of him in his room with the certificate. That's pretty neat. And yeah, some of these other great cheesecake photos. We're going to get more in depth into his collection here in a few minutes, but let's interview the world's most interesting modeler first.
So Rob, tell us how old you were when you started building models.
Well, when I first started building models, I was probably, I've got to go back a few years. I was 6 years old when I first got my first airplane model. It was actually built by an uncle who flew for the airlines. And he had given me an old Aurora B-29 Super Fortress by Aurora. And that got me really interested in building models. My dad then, at age, I think I was 7 years old, it was on my 7th birthday, had bought me a model of a Boeing 707, an Aurora 707. And my dad and I started building together at age 7. By the time I was 8 years old, I was building on my own and started up my huge collection.
And here's a picture of Rob with that very first model.
Who is the person who influenced your life the most?
The person that influenced me the most was my dad. I've got to admit it was my dad. My grandmother influenced me as far as my personality, but I think it was my dad that really influenced me as far as a go get 'em, get out there, do the best you can type of individual.
What did he do for a living?
My dad actually worked at Kennecott. He was a miner. His dad was a miner, and his grandfather was a miner. That's what got me interested in geology.
So you were actually going to be a fighter pilot in Vietnam. And we'll talk a little bit more about that experience. But how did your experience in the military mold you as a person?
The military was a big change in my life. From being a free-spirited, run around, do whatever I want type of an individual to a now become a more rigid, firm, respectable individual, taking people's lives into consideration and trying to help others and doing the best I can to make me what I thought would be a very good American and a proud American.
Okay, so what are the most important lessons that you've learned in life?
The most important lessons was probably mainly life is short. You need to get out, go out and have fun and enjoy life. Live life to its fullest. Get out there, explore, take chances, but on those chances, know your limits. So I'll go out, try to have fun. I will take a few chances, but I'm not going to push myself over those limits. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be here today.
And here's a great picture from one of Rob's adventures. Like I said, he does some amazing photography, goes to some amazing places.
Wow, there's so much about you. It's incredible. But let me ask, what would you like to be remembered for? How would you like to be remembered?
How would I like to be remembered? I'd like to be remembered as a kind, friendly, and very helpful individual. I've tried to learn as much as I can over the years. I've become a plumber, an electrician, a car repairman. I've done all types of repair work. I enjoyed my time in the military. I enjoyed my flying, T-37s, T-38s, things along those lines. But also as a geologist, I love to go out to ghost towns. I pick up gold, silver, copper, all different types of ores, just a roundabout rock hounder. Those are just a few of the many things I love to do, along with my amazing airplane model collection. I love to paint and I love to put together airplane models, which over the years has led me into the Guinness World Book of Records.
And here are some of the minerals that he's collected while he's been out rock hounding.
Now, I know you wear a cape underneath, underneath your coat, because you're just like Superman. You're this superhero wherever you go. And I know you don't see yourself that way, but according to things I've read and seen, it's a different story. So there was a time outside of work where you were called on to do something just spur of the moment that actually saved some people. Tell us about that.
While I was working on the highway patrol, I was a highway patrolman. On my day off, I had gone out and I had gone jogging. I used to love to run. I was usually running 10 miles a day every day of the week. And I was just, one day I was finishing up a 10-mile run, running back into the neighborhood when I could see some smoke coming from a home at the end of my street, which was just kind of kitty corner from where I lived. And as I was running up the street, there were two little girls outside screaming and yelling that their little sister was inside the home. As I got closer and sprinted to the house, I could see a little girl leaning up against the window, actually the window screen, and she was trying to breathe. There was smoke coming out from behind her head, and I thought, oh my gosh. I ran up to the front door, and the front door was locked. Well, when the little girls saw there was a fire, they ran out, locking the door behind them, as their parents had taught them, always lock the door behind you, so we couldn't get in the house. I had, for some reason, my brain just took over and said, get in and save that little girl. I had ran into the window, the front window, busted through the front window, had to run up to the top of the stairs, through the flames, grab the little girl, run back out through the front door, get her out. And at that point, I went back in with a garden hose and sprayed the house down as best I could. I had to crawl on my belly because the fire had started in the basement and was working up the stairs. So I sprayed the fire down as best I could and stayed in there until I could get the fire put out. At that point, fire department came up, showed up. They went in and took care of the last bit of flames. And after that, I didn't think anything else about it. Next thing I know, I was nominated for the State Medal of Valor for going in and risking my life to save that little girl. And that made the news. I've had big headlines on it, and then I received several awards on that, both from the Air Force and the Highway Patrol and the state.
Wow. Okay, Rob, so we've already mentioned that you were a highway patrolman, but there was a time when you were decorated for some heroism. And I know there was lots of different things that you did, but give me one specific instance.
There's been quite a few. Probably the one that really stands out in my mind was an accident on what was called I-215 West, about 50th South. A lady had been driving down the road, lady probably about 45, 50 years of age, and a Christmas tree had fallen out of the back of a pickup truck. Well, the pickup truck pulled over to the side to stop and go back and get the tree. Well, the lady came upon the tree and swerved to the right, actually hitting the back of the truck. In doing so, it knocked the truck off the side of the road. Her vehicle went off into the center of the road, and she had hit at a very high impact. I'm going to say probably around 55, 60 mile an hour, smashed the entire front of the vehicle up. I just happened to arrive on the scene probably 30 seconds later. Other cars had pulled over. They had run up to check on the lady. And as I pulled up, there was a guy and a lady come screaming back, "She's dead, she's dead." So I went running up there, and I saw the seat, her front seat had laid back into the back seat. She wasn't moving, she wasn't breathing. I checked and I could feel a pulse. And so upon that, I took first aid measures. I went ahead and I swept her tongue. She had actually swallowed her tongue, so she had stopped breathing. I then started giving mouth to mouth. She was already, her heart was going, so I didn't have to give CPR, but I did give her mouth to mouth. I got her breathing, and then I was holding her neck very still because it looked like she had really had a nasty whiplash. I was able to hold her neck still, call for emergency medical people to show up. They came and put a C-collar on her and got her to the hospital. The hospital then later confirmed if she had moved her head, I think they said it was 1 centimeter, she would have been paralyzed for life. I was credited with saving not only her life, but also credited to prevent her from being paralyzed for life. I was also given a lot of accolades and awards for that particular action, made the newspapers and TV and so forth. That was just one of many.
But here's what Rob is most known for in the modeling world and the world itself. 2002, 2004 Guinness Book of World Records. And here you go. Here's one of the notations here. Talks about his collection and a little bit about him. Pretty neat. And I was one of the people who helped verify this.
Well, I got to know, what are you the most proud of?
It is hard to say what I'm the most proud of. I'm proud of my family, my children, my marriages, even though I did have a divorce. That was still a very wonderful marriage. I'm proud of all of my accomplishments, both with the Air Force, all of the awards I've gotten with the Air Force, and with the Highway Patrol, and all of the awards I've gotten with the Highway Patrol, and with, of course, my Guinness World Book of Records. But it's hard to say. I'm just really proud that I've been able to live as good as I have and enjoy the life that I have had. And I hope others out there may take this message and say, you know what, I want to start living and enjoying life too. Because just remember, life is short.
Okay, so now let's go and let's walk around and look at his collection and see what all he's got. It's absolutely amazing. Here's a couple of pieces from that collection. These are originals. And how he keeps track of it all is by little books where he has everything written down.
Look at the number of kits those are. Those are that I have them all by section. My airliners, my French, my Japanese, my German, my Americans, my spacecraft.
Rob, how many models are on display between your rooms?
Well, let's see. On display in this particular room, I have I think it's just under 2,100 that are on display. Mixed amongst some of these, besides the 2,100 that I have built, I have other models that already came assembled. The metal kits, the ones from the Franklin Mint, some of the Century Series toys where the models were already put together. I've got a lot of those on the floor. With the Century Series toys, the Franklin Mint, and a couple of others that came pre-assembled, there's probably about 2,300 in here right now.
Wow.
A lot of them, a lot of my other kits, I started collecting. Like I said, I've got so many kits that I want to build. I became somewhat of a kit collector. If you look behind you, you've got some of the old Aurora kits, some of the old Revell, some of the old Heller kits, the old Hawk kits, all of them that are not built yet. But I just wanted to kind of collect and build it. There's some here that I've got from friends.
I was going to say these Vals and Kates all look really familiar.
Those, look at the B-24s over there too, buddy. Those
those look really familiar.
Those look familiar. Somebody gave those to me. Those aren't included in the totals. With the totals and that would probably kick it up around 2,000, like I said, 2,000.
Is that white B1 over there one that I gave you?
The one with the red and white tail?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think so. Okay.
Yes.
I think
the
we
other
did a
one
show
was
on that
the
a
one
while
I'd
back.
actually built. But yeah, you gave me quite a few kits here. If that's what helped kick it up, another 100 kits there,
There
buddy.
you go. Look at this XB50. And tell me a little bit about this, because I know who built it.
This was done by a guy by the name of Jack Douglas. And he had this at Douglas Models. And he happened to give this to me. He said, you know, I want you to have this, Rob. I'm impressed with all your kits. I appreciate everything that you have done for Douglas Models. And he just basically gave me the kit. And from this kit, it was originally a B-29 that he had modified with the Bell X2 underneath it. And I've got to give credit to Jack Douglas on that one.
That was before they had any kind of conversion kit, though. That was back in the day when Jack did all of that conversion by himself.
Correct.
And Jack was still is an incredible modeler in and of his own right. He won very many awards for what he's done.
He did. He did fantastic. I got to thank Jack Douglas, too. He was the one that kind of helped me on this when I was going through my first divorce. He allowed me to purchase models on credit before I could actually getting paid. And there was a time when I was going through some tough times. There was about 3 years when I was going through my first divorce. I went through a lot of depression. And instead of going to a psychiatrist, I went to Jack Douglas and bought models.
There you go. There you go. That's the way to do it. I love these old Aurora kits. These are amazing.
They are fun. Some of the simple kits like that are really fun.
Hughes Air West. Oh, my goodness. I remember those flying out of Salt Lake City as a kid.
Wish I had better lighting in here for you, Eddie.
That's okay.
All right, Rob. So with all of this other cool stuff that's, makes you the world's most interesting modeler, in my opinion, what's actually on your bucket list?
Oh, on my bucket list. Let's see. I have to figure out how long do I think I'm going to live. And you never know how long you're going to live. But I would like to keep doing traveling. I want to keep painting. I'm going to keep building models. Keep my collection growing. And like I say, I want to do a lot of traveling, exploring, going to more ghost towns, looking for more rocks and minerals, just things that make me smile. And I do enjoy getting out alone and with friends, just to get out away from crowds, to get out into nature and start really enjoying life the way life was meant to be lived.